There's something about a big yellow excavator that just grabs your attention. Maybe it's the sheer size of it, a metal giant that can lift tons of earth with a single scoop. Or maybe it's the way it moves, with a kind of surprising grace, swinging its long arm and digging into the ground with purpose. For a lot of folks, watching heavy machinery at work is better than any movie. It's real, it's powerful, and it's honest work. You can see the world changing right before your eyes, one bucket of dirt at a time. It's a symphony of steel and soil, and every machine plays its part. Today, we're not just digging a hole, we're building something that will last for generations. We're on a sprawling piece of land out in the country, and the job is to build a massive pond dam. This isn't your backyard water feature. We're talking about a structure that will hold back thousands of gallons of water, creating a new lake where there was once just a rolling field. It's a project that takes power, precision, and a whole lot of patience. This kind of work connects you to the land in a way that few other jobs can. You learn to read the soil, to feel the machine, and to respect the scale of what you're trying to accomplish. The sound of the site is its own kind of music. You've got the deep, rumbling groan of the excavator's diesel engine, a constant hum that becomes the soundtrack to your day. Then there's the high-pitched shriek of the hydraulics as the arm moves, a sound of pure power being put to use. Every now and then, you hear the metallic clang of the bucket hitting a rock or the rhythmic thud as the operator bangs it to shake loose some sticky clay. Add in the roar of a dozer and the beeping of a dump truck in reverse, and you've got the full orchestra. It might sound like noise to some, but to an operator, it's the sound of progress. This is a story about a day in the life of that orchestra. A look at what it really takes to move a mountain and build a dam from the ground up. We'll get inside the cab, get our boots dirty, and see how these incredible machines and their skilled operators work together. It's a dance of brute force and careful planning, where every move matters. From the first scoop in the morning to the last pat of the compactor at sunset, this is how you build something big. This is how you change the landscape. One powerful, deliberate, and sometimes dirty job at a time. Before you can move a single shovelful of dirt, you have to understand the job in front of you. Our project is set on a beautiful piece of American countryside. It's a big, open area with a natural low spot, the perfect place to create a large pond. The goal is to build an earthen dam across this valley. This dam will need to be strong enough to hold back water for decades, creating a habitat for fish and wildlife and a place for the landowners to enjoy. It's a legacy project, and that means we have to do it right. The plan is to move about 18,000 cubic yards of dirt. That's a number so big it's hard to picture. But think of it as thousands of dump truck loads. The whole process starts with a plan. Engineers have looked at the land, tested the soil, and designed the dam. They've told us how high it needs to be, how wide it needs to be at the base, and what kind of material we need to use. Our job is to take that blueprint and make it a reality. We'll be harvesting all the material we need right here on site. The clay we dig out to make the pond deeper will become the very structure of the dam. It's a perfect cycle. We're not just moving dirt from point A to point B, we are sculpting the land, using its own resources to create something new and permanent. The dam itself is the star of the show. It's not just a pile of dirt, it's an engineered structure. The most important part is the core, which has to be built with the best, most watertight clay we can find. This core is like the dam's skeleton, its strong spine that will prevent water from ever seeping through. We'll dig a deep trench down to a solid clay layer to anchor this core, ensuring it's locked into the earth. Then, we'll build the rest of the dam around it, layer by layer, compacting each one until it's as hard as a rock. The front slope will be gentle, and the back slope will be sturdy. A project of this size is a marathon, not a sprint. You have to think ahead. Where will you get the clay for the next section? Where will you put the topsoil you scrape off so you can use it later? How do you keep the work flowing smoothly when you have multiple machines all needing to do their part? It's a giant real-life puzzle. The stakes are high because if a dam fails, it's a disaster. So every scoop, every push, and every pass of the compactor is done with care and attention to detail. This isn't just about playing with big toys, it's about responsibility. On a job like this, no single machine can do it all. It takes a team of iron, each with its own special talent, all working together in a carefully choreographed dance. The leader of our crew is the excavator. Think of it as the surgeon of the worksite. With its long arm and powerful bucket, it can dig with incredible precision, place material exactly where it's needed, and load trucks with surprising speed. The operator sits in a glass cab like a pilot, using 2 joysticks to control every movement. From digging a deep, narrow trench to gently scraping a slope smooth, the excavator is the most versatile player on the field. Next up is the bulldozer, or dozer for short. If the excavator is the surgeon, the dozer is the muscle. Its job is to push massive amounts of earth. After the excavator places a pile of clay on the dam, the dozer comes in and spreads it out into a nice, even layer. It's a workhorse, built low to the ground for maximum traction and pushing power. With its giant front blade, it can level a site in no time. The dozer and excavator are a perfect team. The excavator does the digging and placing, and the dozer does the heavy lifting and spreading, keeping the whole operation moving efficiently. Of course, sometimes you need to move dirt farther than a dozer can push it. That's where the dump truck comes in. This isn't your average pickup. This is an off-road beast with huge tires, designed to haul many tons of material over rough ground. The excavator operator will fill the dump truck's bed in just a few buckets, maybe 7 or 8 scoops. The truck then drives the material over to another part of the site, maybe hauling good clay to the dam or taking wet mud away from the pond bottom. It's the site's delivery service, connecting different parts of the job. Finally, we have the specialist, the compactor. This machine might not look as impressive as the others, but its job is arguably the most critical for building a strong dam. We use a sheep's foot compactor, which is a large, heavy drum covered in metal knobs that look like pegs. As it rolls back and forth over the fresh layer of clay, the dozers spread out. These feet press down and knead the soil, squeezing out air pockets and moisture. This process makes the clay incredibly dense and waterproof. Without proper compaction, the dam would be weak and could leak. This machine ensures our dam is built as solid as concrete. The sun is just starting to burn off the morning mist, and it's time to get to work. The first and most important step in building our dam is to create a solid foundation. You can't just start piling dirt on top of the ground. The topsoil is full of roots, grass, and organic material. If you build on that, water will find a way to seep through those little channels, and your dam will fail. So, the first thing the excavator has to do is scrape all of that topsoil away, clearing a wide path where the dam will sit. We push that rich soil aside to be used later for landscaping the finished project. Once we're down to the subsoil, the real work begins, digging the core trench. This is the dam's anchor. The excavator positions itself and starts digging a deep trench right down the center line of where the dam will be. The goal is to dig down until we hit a solid, impermeable layer of good, beautiful clay. This clay is the foundation that will stop any water from ever getting underneath our dam. The trench might be 10 or 15 feet deep, a massive ditch that runs the entire length of the dam. It's slow, careful work as the operator pulls out scoop after scoop of earth, building a pile beside the trench. As the excavator digs, the operator is constantly feeling the soil through the machine. A skilled operator can tell the difference between good clay and lesser material just by the way the bucket cuts through it and by the weight in the scoop. The clay we are looking for is dense and a little sticky. Once we hit that perfect layer, we clean the bottom of the trench, making sure it's flat and free of any loose debris. This clean, solid base is absolutely critical. It's like the foundation of a house. If you don't get it right, nothing you build on top of it will be any good. With the trench dug, it's time to start filling it back in, but only with the best material. We use the highest quality clay we can find, the kind that's almost waterproof. The excavator carefully starts placing this select clay back into the trench. Then, the compactor gets to work. We build the core up in thin layers, or lifts, usually about 6 to 8 inches at a time. The excavator places the clay, the dozer might help spread it, and then the sheep's foot compactor rolls over it again and again, packing it down until it's rock solid. This process is repeated, lift after lift, until the core trench is filled, creating a watertight barrier deep in the earth. Once the core trench is filled and the foundation is set, the job kind of settles into a steady rhythm. The main task now is to move massive quantities of earth from the area that'll become the pond and place it up on the dam. The excavator operator finds a good spot to work from, somewhere he can efficiently dig material and swing it right over to the dam structure. The goal here is to move the machine as little as possible because every time you have to move the excavator's tracks, well, you're losing time. So, the operator will dig out everything within his reach before repositioning for the next section. The work becomes a cycle, almost like a dance between the machines. The excavator swings its arm down, sinks the bucket into the bank, and lifts a huge scoop of clay. Then it swivels its cab and gracefully deposits the pile onto the growing dam. As soon as the pile is there, the dozer rumbles forward and starts pushing the dirt, spreading it into a thin, even layer across the top of the dam. While the dozer is spreading, the excavator is already swinging back to dig its next bucket. It's a continuous loop of digging, swinging, placing, and spreading. When it's all working perfectly, it's actually a remarkably efficient process. Sometimes, though, the distance is just too far for the excavator to swing the dirt over. Maybe the best clay is, say, 75 feet away from the section of the dam we're building. Pushing it all that way with the dozer would be slow and pretty inefficient. In this case, we bring in the dump truck. The excavator will load the truck, which takes about 7 or 8 big buckets to fill. The truck then drives the short distance and dumps the material right where it's needed. The operator might say that 3 truckloads are faster and better for the job than trying to push it. This is where experience really comes in, knowing which tool to use for the task at hand. All day long this cycle repeats. Scoop, swing, dump, push, spread, return. The pile of dirt on the dam grows steadily higher and the hole that'll be the pond gets steadily deeper. The operators are in constant communication, sometimes with hand signals, sometimes over the radio, making sure everyone knows what the plan is. The dozer operator knows to stay clear when the excavator is swinging a full bucket. The excavator operator knows to place the dirt in a way that's easy for the dozer to spread. It's a team effort, and the rhythm they create is what builds the dam. Building an earthen dam isn't like building a sandcastle at the beach where you just pile up sand. It's a precise, scientific process. We build the dam in layers called lifts. Each lift is a thin, horizontal layer of soil, usually no more than 8 to 10 inches thick. After the excavator places the clay and the dozer spreads it into a flat layer, the most important part begins: compaction. The sheep's foot compactor drives back and forth over the fresh lift, its heavy knobbed feet punching into the soil. This action kneads the clay, forces out air pockets, and binds the soil particles together tightly. This process of compaction is what gives the dam its strength and makes it watertight. You can't rush it. Each lift must be thoroughly compacted before the next one can be added. If you try to build with layers that are too thick, the compactor can't pack down the bottom of the layer, leaving a weak spot hidden deep inside the dam. Over time, water could find that weak spot and start to erode the dam from the inside out. So we take our time, pass after pass with the compactor, until the ground is firm and solid under its weight. It's slow, repetitive work, but it's the most critical step in the entire project. How do we make sure everything is perfectly level and built to the right height? We use a laser level. An operator sets up a device on a tripod that shoots a perfectly level beam of light across the entire worksite. Another operator holds a tall pole with a sensor on it. By placing the pole on the dam, the sensor beeps when it crosses the laser beam, telling us the exact elevation. This way we know if one area is too low or too high. We might have a flag set to mark 1 foot below the final water level, giving us a clear target to aim for as we build. Using the laser, we can check our progress constantly. The operator might find that one end of the dam needs to come up another 2 feet, while the middle only needs another 18 inches. This technology removes the guesswork and allows for incredible precision. We are not just eyeballing it, we are building to an exact specification. This ensures that the top of the dam is perfectly level, so that when the pond is full, the water will flow over the emergency spillway exactly as designed, and not over the top of our carefully built structure. It's the perfect blend of brute force and modern technology. Working with earth is never a clean job, and every type of soil has its own personality. When you're digging for a pond dam, the material you want most is good, heavy clay. But that perfect, watertight clay has a downside. It's incredibly sticky. After an excavator scoops up a bucketful, a good portion of it can get stuck inside the bucket, refusing to come out. The operator has to develop a feel for it. Sometimes a quick, sharp curl of the bucket is enough to jiggle it loose. Other times, the operator has to give the bucket a good hard smack against the ground, or a rock to knock the stubborn clay out. It's a noisy but necessary part of the job. Over the years, operators learn all sorts of little tricks to make the work go smoother. These aren't things you learn in a manual. They come from thousands of hours in the driver's seat. For instance, sometimes you need to move a piece of equipment, like the heavy compactor, from one side of a ditch to another. Instead of building a whole ramp, a skilled excavator operator might just use the excavator itself. He'll carefully hook the bucket onto the compactor, lift the entire machine, weighing several tons, swing it across the ditch, and gently set it down on the other side. It's an aggressive move that takes skill and confidence, but it can save hours of work. Another challenge is cleaning out the bed of a dump truck. Even after the truck has tilted its bed all the way up, a layer of wet, sticky mud can remain stuck to the bottom. An operator with a big excavator has to be very careful trying to scrape it out. The bucket is huge, and the truck bed is relatively small, with a tailgate in the way. It's like trying to get the last bit of peanut butter out of a jar with a giant ladle. The operator has to use precise, gentle movements to rake the stuck material out without damaging the truck. It's a delicate operation that showcases the operator's fine control over their massive machine. These little moments are what define a day on the job. It's not just about the big, impressive movements. It's about solving 100 small problems that pop up along the way. It's knowing how to angle the bucket just right to cut a smooth slope. It's knowing how to pile the dirt so it doesn't spill. It's learning the sounds of your machine so well that you can hear when something isn't quite right. This is the craft of the operator, a skill built on experience, intuition, and a deep understanding of the work. It's what separates a good operator from a great one. On a big earth-moving job, how do you know if you're having a good day? You can't just look at the dam and guess. We measure progress in concrete numbers. The most common way is by counting loads. The excavator operator keeps a mental tally of how many times he has filled the dump truck. By midday, say around 1:15 in the afternoon, the crew might have already moved 55 loads of dirt. Knowing that number tells the foreman if they are on schedule to meet their goals for the day and for the week. It's a simple but effective way to track the massive amount of material being moved. Another way we track progress is by the bucket. An operator knows his machine. He knows that his bucket holds a certain amount of dirt, maybe 3 or 4 cubic yards per scoop. He also knows that it takes, for example, 7 or 8 of his buckets to fill one dump truck. By keeping account of the buckets, he can estimate the total yardage moved. This is especially important when pricing a job. The entire project might be bid based on moving 18,000 cubic yards of dirt, so keeping an accurate count ensures the job is being done efficiently and profitably. It turns the art of digging into a science of numbers. Throughout the day, the laser level provides another measure of success. It's not just about how much dirt we've moved, but about where we've put it. Seeing the dam rise steadily toward the target elevation marked by the laser is incredibly satisfying. At the start of the day, the sensor on the grade rod might be beeping 3 feet below the laser line. By the end of the day, it might only be a foot below it. This visual, precise feedback shows tangible progress. It confirms that all those truckloads of dirt are adding up to create the structure we planned. At the end of the day, as the engines power down, the crew can look back at what they've accomplished. They can see a section of the dam that is visibly taller and wider than it was that morning. They can see a large chunk of the future pond bottom that has been completely dug out. By the end of this particular day, we've moved all the material from one side of the pond and are ready to bring in a bigger dozer, a D7, to help push dirt around tomorrow. It's a feeling of accomplishment, knowing that your hard work has physically changed the shape of the world, even if it's just one small piece of it. As the sun gets low in the sky, casting long shadows across the worksite, the day's work begins to wind down. The constant roar of engines softens to a hum and then silence. Looking at the project, you can see real, tangible change. The dam is no longer just a plan on paper. It's a massive wall of earth, growing stronger with every layer. A huge section of the future pond has been carved out, its clay heart now forming the backbone of the dam. It's a powerful reminder that with the right tools and a dedicated team, you can reshape the land itself. This kind of work is about more than just moving dirt. It's about building something that will last. This pond will be here long after we've packed up our machines and moved on. It will become a part of the ecosystem, a place for deer to drink, for fish to swim, and for a family to make memories. There's a quiet pride that comes from being a part of that. It's a tough job, with long hours under the hot sun, but seeing the final product makes it all worthwhile. You're not just an operator, you're a builder, a creator. None of this would be possible without teamwork. The excavator, the dozer, the truck, and the compactor are just tools. It's the operators, working in sync, who bring the project to life. The excavator operator anticipates the dozer's needs. The truck driver knows exactly where to dump the load to save the other machine's time. Everyone is looking out for each other, communicating with a nod or a hand signal, ensuring the job is done safely and efficiently. This symphony of steel and skill is what turns a messy, complicated construction site into a place of progress. So the next time you drive by a construction site and see a big yellow excavator digging in the dirt, take a moment to appreciate what's really happening. It's not just noise and dust, it's a carefully planned, skillfully executed job that requires power, precision, and a whole lot of hard work. Whether it's a skyscraper foundation, a new highway, or a massive pond dam in the middle of the country, these are the people and machines that are building our world, one dirty, glorious, and epic bucket at a time.